Hey, what's going on? I've tried a couple things. I listened to my audios and it had really bad reverb, so I cut down my mic, and the music was like going crazy too. What is the first form you need to file for a felony case representing my case? You don't need to file any form. If you want to challenge jurisdiction, you can file a claim for that. Basically, how it works is you can put any piece of paper you want in at all. You just have to understand the rules of the court and what's needed. Sometimes they need a cover letter or something to record it. So you have to look up your specific court's location and what is necessary for filing. All the court rules should be public. It's a public form or public menu. Let's see if I play music on this. I want to see if it's too loud. Alright, let's see. I need to get a nice mic, I think. So a warrant, so when something has a warranty under it, it is backing something, so there's something that needs to be settled. The warrant is basically, when you buy something and it has a warranty, that's what a warrant is, a warranty for something. So there's been an original charging instrument that needs to be handled. Thanks for the gifts. Alright, let's see if we can do this. Library. I hope there's no reverb when I play this stuff. I was gonna play it on my phone. I tried to set up my phone to where my phone could film me, and I cast it onto my computer, but for some reason I can't get the driver right on my computer for Wi-Fi pickup.
From farming to manufacturing to retail,
You like to get things started.
Nearly 8 million jobs.
What do you mean?
But some politicians are pushing anti-innovation policies that will undermine American tech
Alright. You like to get things going, huh? What do you like to get going? What can you use? Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't even know how many are on here. I think I can see it from somewhere. 5 people. Okay. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday. I feel like randomly hopping on here and trying to help y'all and see if I can get this right. The audios, I don't like the audio. I might have to get a microphone. Somebody suggested that I get a microphone because I'm using my little webcam's microphone and it sucks. Yeah, especially appearing and being the authorized representative does, you can challenge jurisdiction, but they have jurisdiction over the straw man. So unless you are, you got 3 jurisdictions. You got equity, admiralty, and common law, and they're flying the military war flag, so you have to waive one of those 3 different jurisdictions. What's up, Captain Crunch? Nuts. I typed up all your former TikTok lives into an index of stuff you talk about. That's cool. I tried to save my last one. I had a good hour-long discussion. I wanted to upload my Telegram group, and TikTok won't let me download it. It just won't. Like, I'm about to pull it up now. Last time I tried to do a live, it would eventually, see, it's still not up there. It doesn't allow me to download. I had this great live and I wanted to put it up, but it won't let me. All your former TikTok. So in order to do any of this, no, you don't have to correct your status. You're already sovereign. Your citizen is synonymous with a subject. Your citizen is a corporation. It's a slave. It was created by the state. It is a ens legis, a creature of the state. Invoke common law. Yeah, you can invoke common law. So the republic is a good form of that. The republican sovereign state that you live in is a good form of being republic. All of this gets you out of a DUI if you know how to handle yourself, but you got to understand how things work. You're most likely driving the state's property while you're intoxicated, and the beneficiary that has control of that property requests that you not drive intoxicated. Oh, are you saying you transcribed my audios, Captain Crunchnuts? I mean, I wouldn't need it. Other people might, though. I don't know if you're in my Telegram group. That would probably be great. We could post that. I find it easy to when I learned all this stuff. It took me years and years and years. And what I used to do is I had a great job where I could actually download music or audio on my phone and let's have earplugs in and just walk around while I'm like making sure nobody's hurting each other and just listen and learn audio. So in my Telegram group, it's pretty cool. You can plug it in your car and play it on the on your speakers while you're driving, or you can have headphones and listen at night. And it's like exercise. You start to learn by hearing what I'm saying, the responses to people's questions, and kind of learning the way things are. So that is what I recommend, is like listening to all the audio. Some people are visual, like girls love reading. That's why all these novels became real famous, of these passionate lovers. And they actually did a study, and the most common, most popular fantasy that women had was it was either of like a werewolf, a pirate, a millionaire, or something that they tamed. Like they tamed the beast, they tamed the millionaire, they got them under control, and that's like the woman's most sought after fantasy, is taming a monster like a beast, and getting her under his reign. I'm not trying to be cute or funny. It's just what the search results found online. That is what the most broadest sense of what women wanted. My Telegram is Nature Spirit Commerce, nature/spirit/commerce. If you can't find it, I can send you a link. Now, in the channel, there's a group, and the group is what allows people to talk back and forth. I had to figure this out. It took a long time. If you want to make real estate company, do you suggest me being a state national? You can create a private membership organization, or you can create an unincorporated business. It depends on where you want the jurisdiction, but the public is bankrupt and has to interact with another bankrupt entity. So depending on what you're trying to do is whether or not you incorporate and where you incorporate it. The government, how did they break your contract, Doug? How are you saying that they break your contract and then you're telling them that you don't have a contract? That is contradictory. Kelso Cash, you don't have to separate yourself from the straw man. You're already not the straw man. We are tricked into thinking we are the straw man. The straw man is only a corporation. It's just a stack of papers. Like, do you want me to tell you how to separate from this? Alright, I'll tell you right now, watch. Drop it. Alright, I'm separate. That's all you got to do. It's just a stack of papers. You're not the straw man. Setting up a trust saved you hassle from filing crazy forms. Depends on what you're trying to do, Measy. I might look at that document, Captain Crunchnuts, especially if other people want it in the Telegram group. Can you remind me, Veronica? I think so when I looked in the settings, it says you are an administrator, you and Queenie, but I think the way that I'm doing it now, y'all just have like different powers or different abilities because I'm doing a TikTok live app. I'm not using my phone. It's like a different program, and I'm doing it only because of the I'm able to see 25 messages at a time. When I get on here and I start talking, I like to be able to scroll through messages, and it is not efficient on the phone at all. So I'm thinking about getting a microphone, but I can double check. Last time I checked, I had 2 administrators still. It was you and Queenie, and that was it. Say I buy land outright, would I be able to acquire a land patent? So buying the land outright doesn't matter. Getting the land patent is what matters. You should not have a lien on it. If you are paying a bank, they have a lien on it. Then you got to do a patent search back to, I think it's the Bureau of Land Management or something. You got to do a patent search all the way back to the king and do a grantee acceptance on that, record it in the county, and then basically tell the county to step off. You're not paying taxes anymore. It's your land. They don't belong on it. Kick rocks. They did things that was against it. Doug, I don't know what contract. Oh, California, by the way. I don't know what contract you're talking about, Doug. When I get a bill from a credit card company, is that debt notice worth value, allowing us to offer it as a trade? Yeah, so any form of debt is proof of currency in the bankrupt corporation. So it's basically like imagine if you go into a pinball game or a gaming center and they have special tokens inside. That's what Federal Reserve notes are. It's like it's only fake money inside of that little company and inside of that little pinball store. So when you get and how their system works is when you have proof of a debt that is an accounts receivable. You can then collapse everything's in trust. You can collapse the public trust on that by doing a grantee acceptance on it. When you do a grantee acceptance on it, it collapses the public trust. Then you can turn around and attach a codicil or an allonge that has the trust's indentures on it. As the grantor, you can then put that trust and appoint it any way you want. An express trust, you have to basically express who the beneficiary, the trustee, and the grantor is. It has to have property in it and a purpose. And then once you create a trust, it is solid. It is very enforceable all over the world. That's how they operate with everything. Everything is in trust in their world. So that's what you want to try to always operate in, is trust. Alright, offer it as trade. Alright, okay, so all these folks authenticate BC. Yeah, that's correct, Kelso. Authenticating your birth certificate is only good if you're leaving the country and you want to live somewhere else, like Japan or Turkey or France or something, or if you want to go into the DTC to sell 1/10 of your estate. Now, I have put a good outline, and I know a little bit more, which I posted in Telegram, but I didn't go through that process. I know someone who did. They backed judge into the corner and made me accept his hearsay as proof of victim and of. Wow, that's kind of intense, Doug. It's not hard once you become the ultimate sovereign in the court how to take control of it and get the control of the court. Then you can get the bonds so that they don't monetize it. When they start monetizing the bonds on a court case, it is big money. I'm talking millions. Like they ain't playing with no small bucks. Out in the public, they will charge you, $100, $50, whatever. But they're monetizing that court case for so much money. You're welcome, Patriot Sky. Marco, what do you want me to say again? If the audio is okay on this, I will post this live audio in my Telegram group. But last time the audio kind of sucked, and then the one before that, TikTok is not allowing me to download it. I haven't had one before that they wouldn't let me download. I had a good hour chunk of live that I answered all kinds of great questions that I wanted to post on Telegram, and I can't download it, and it sucks. Oh, driver's license? When no one did, I fired my attorney. Yeah, your driver's license is a benefit and privilege for the U.S. citizen, which is synonymous with a subject. You're welcome, Captain Crunch. I don't want to sue for money. that has no value to me. Yeah, you can request payment in gold or silver, Doug, but I doubt you're going to get it from them, because most of them are operating in a bankrupt public limited liability capacity. You can go after their bonds and stuff like that. That's the true thing that, you know, cops, judges, and lawyers and everybody, they're bonded, and it's basically like if you go after their bond, it's almost like they're getting in a car crash. And if they get into many car crashes, the bond company will drop them. They'll lose their job. But you can go after their bond if they go against their oath or basically violate your rights, you as the human. You can go after their private capacity. Alright, is having land patent the only way to stop the county from forcing permits? Yes. So once you get the land patent, that is your baby. You can no longer get trash collection services. You can no longer use public water pipes. You can't use draining. You can't use police, fire, ambulance. You can't use any public services. You have to either contract with each of them individually or do it yourself. And then from there, you got to be careful when you're messing with Federal Reserve notes that you're not messing up jurisdictions and stuff like that. Once you get your own land, they cannot tell you what you can or can't do with it, as long as in the common law you aren't harming somebody. You know, like eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You know, there's no injured party. You're not doing anything unsafe, like trying to create a nuclear reactor that's like killing everything all around, or going to war. You're allowed to hold up arms. You know, obviously you're allowed to protect, and you're allowed to be a subsistence farmer on your land and stuff like that, according to like the laws of Moses. Yeah, you can, Chad, for the land patent, you can DM me and I can tag you in something that has a little bit more of an in-depth step-by-step process. My understanding, different than what they posted on that, was the Bureau of Land Management, I think, is where you want to search for the land patent. Go all the way back to the king. Yeah, I might get one, Will. I don't know how the audio sounds for y'all. Today I was trying to cast my my video from my phone. I was gonna set my phone up and use that camera and mic, because I don't mind the audio from that, but I had a problem with my driver on my computer. So I did try to do that today. Now I think the next step is I'm just going to get a mic instead of using this little pinhole thing on my freaking webcam. The original 13th Amendment, Dean, the original 13th Amendment said that no U.S. citizen could hold a title of nobility. A title of nobility, such as an esquire, is what an attorney is. An attorney has a title of nobility. Now, if you read Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8, I think that's right, 198, you will see that the original state and the Constitution says that the United States will not issue a title of nobility. So if you read that in the Constitution and then you find out that an esquire is a title of nobility, that makes sense, and you can figure out that an attorney is a British accreditation registered title, because it comes from Britain, because the U.S. is not allowed to issue titles of nobility. So Britain, the British Accreditation Registry, is what issues that title of nobility to an esquire. And the duty of an attorney is to attorn you back into the public. They don't want you to be private. Their job and duty, just like the judges, they're all trying to protect the public system, who is bankrupt, uneducated, crazy, and dangerous. Alright, I want to be left alone. That's my price. It was 13 years ago. Yeah, you got to do a lot to be left alone in the private. You got to use an agent. Somebody's got to go in the public, unless you are completely self-sustained, off-grid. You've gotten all titles to all your property, your vehicle. You're not using Federal Reserve notes. You grow your own food, water, all that stuff. Then you're good. Like you don't have to interface with the public. But other than that, somebody's got to, and you do it through an agent if you want to stay private, or you do it. Federal Reserve notes have value because of this, because it is backed up by faith and because everybody believes it does. So because of that, it has value, because you can ask people to do things for money. You know, that has value. My words have value. The paper that it's written on has value. Now, when you break it down, there's the same amount of ink on a $1 bill that there is on a $100 bill. You know what I'm saying? You can look at that as value. You can look at a silver coin, a $1 coin, and say it's $1 because it has $1 written on it, or it's worth 20 or so, or I don't know what they're worth nowadays, a dollar. Or you can go by the weight. If you smelt it down into an ingot, it has a different value. So value is in the eye of the beholder. Because if you were starving and somebody had a bowl of porridge, or something, you'd find a way to try to trade, barter, or you'd probably give extra of more than what it's worth to try to get food. Now, if you don't have anything that guy wants, that's tough. That's tough money. He could drive a hard bargain. Okay, all right. So for motor vehicles, how can I get my right to passage, meaning no license plate on car? Cool. So I have 3 videos. Please watch my video on true car title, traveling, and driving versus traveling. And that will give you a good outline of how to travel properly without getting in trouble. There's all kinds of things you want to do, including give out notice and proof of receipt of notice to everybody you're traveling in, as far as in the jurisdictions goes. Self-sufficiency. No nuclear reactors. I just want them to leave me and mine alone. Thanks again. No problem, Patriot. Yeah, it's not a super easy task to do. Veronica, why are you going mad? What happened? Oh, is it because I can't make you a moderator? It's because you're already a moderator. Like I said, when I looked, it was. And why are you saying my memory's on point? Sometimes my memory's garbage. Close. My name is a self-sustaining LLC. Yep. Well, your U.S. citizen is a limited liability shield. It's a special kind of trust called an individual trust. They kind of trick you into making you file taxes for that corporation. That's called individual, but it is a corporation. It's a trust. It's an individual trust, and the tax identification number is very special for that individual trust, because the tax identification number is a federal benefits program, which makes the individual trust a federal employee, according to the codes that say anybody or any entity that uses a federal benefits program is a employee of the U.S. There's a federal employee, I mean. Yeah, unfortunately, Veronica, you're not able to pin messages and do certain things this way, but I prefer this because I'm able to scroll through messages with my mouse. I can go up and down a lot easier. When I try to do it on my phone, when I was on TikTok, I'd have 30 messages built up, and then I'd touch it and it would jump all the way to the bottom, and then I'd try to scroll back up, and it was not efficient. So now I just got to kind of get my audio right. And then I think TikTok will eventually allow moderators to have more ability through this TikTok Live app. I believe, because I can't click on your name and do anything on this sidebar that I have. Alright, so where are we at? That I'm told I own, controlled, and oppressed by fear of murder, so we both get what we want. Alright, I don't know what you got going on, buddy Doug. That's it's a little intense. Oh, sound does have reverb, yeah. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to get a mic. And I might not end up posting this live, because when I listen to the sound, it sucks. Oh, hi Queenie, welcome. Side to side, what you talking about? What's side to side? Yeah, what's up, Bubba's dad? I want to switch 9-digit number. What do you want to switch to? You can create a new trust, Doug. You don't have to use the U.S. citizen. You can create your own entity. You can create a limited liability. You can create a trust. You can create a corporation, an unincorporated UBOT. You can create there's so many different entities out there. You can do non-profit and you won't get taxed, you know. If the estate EIN becomes a foreign EIN, I don't know how you're talking about trying to. The Social Security is a very, very special type of number. I don't know if you're talking about trying to create or take it, like you can't take that number away from Puerto Rico. Like it's a specially set up transmitter to revenue funds to the creditors of the U.S. through Puerto Rico. Like it's like it's all part of the way it's all established. Oh, the sound is fine. Cool. That's good. It's your info, not a little reverb. Sound might be bad, but the knowledge is great. Yeah, I'm gonna get I'll have to just get a microphone. I gotta buy a freaking box for all my keys anyway off Amazon or something. And I just had to buy new shoes today because I was walking here. It's raining, and I had a slit in my shoe. And I'm walking, all of a sudden my foot's just getting wet, and I'm like, how is water getting my shoe? And it was just soaking up through my foot and getting. I had one wet sock, so I had to buy some new kicks. Luckily, I'm like right across from a mall. Just walk over there. Switch the SSN with the EIN. Yeah, you can create your. You cannot take the U.S. citizen out of state jurisdiction unless you authenticate the birth certificate and move somewhere else. Then you can relocate that corporation. But you can create a trust with the same exact name as your U.S. citizen, and you can establish that entity anywhere you want. You can establish it within the republic of the sovereign state you're in. You can move it to a foreign country like Egypt. You can establish it in Admiralty Maritime. You can establish it in Equity. You can do any of those three, but most people require that it's grounded on earth and common law. Wet socks are uncomfortable. Yeah, I used to get them every morning at work. I would have to haul diesel, two 6-gallon cans of diesel all the way down offshore, and my feet would get wet every morning because there was puddles everywhere. It was hard to avoid. Yeah, I like having this sidebar, being able to read everybody's comments. Hey. I know I couldn't, but I would like to. But I do have to be made whole. Yeah, so there's benefits and privileges to using that subject, citizen, slave. It is a limited liability corporation. I actually sign everything. I learned this from the IRS. I actually sign everything in all capital letters. Because unless you want full private capacity, I use it as a shield. It's just a corporation, and if somebody says something, I'm like, yeah, I'm the authorized representative for that corporation, and the states, and it's the state's property, so they're the ones that are responsible for it. Now, they allow you to discharge debt publicly with it and privately, so that's a benefit. Paying taxes is a benefit of the U.S. citizen. Isn't that a joy? What a great benefit to have. But subject, citizen, slave gets benefits and privileges. That's not what people have. People don't have people have rights. They're given rights, God-given rights that cannot be taken, unalienable rights that cannot be taken away. What you give and grant a subject citizen is benefits and privileges, like voting. Voting is a benefit and privilege of a U.S. citizen and that corporation. Is it possible to do a foreign trust in Georgia since it's not in D.C.? You can create a trust anywhere, and it is considered foreign to the United States if you invoke the republic sovereign state that you are in. So the Republic of Georgia is foreign to the United States because the United States is located in the District of Columbia. So and that's where your U.S. citizen resides, believe it or not. Your U.S. citizen is a resident of the United States, and the United States, through the postal scam of the zip code, puts a false blanketed jurisdiction all over the U.S. with that zip code. my personal preference, Captain Crunch, is using Federal Reserve notes. That is the preferred method because it's the easiest. It's the most widely accepted, and that is actually a way of setting off a debt because it never gets paid. It's an obligation of the United States. It's a benefit and privilege to use that corporation's notes. But there are, trust me, I've done different other things, but it's just a lot easier. Like, instead of trying to go through a private administrative procedure for my electric bill every single month, it's just not that easy. It's Friday, y'all. I'm probably gonna have me some wine tonight. Gonna be a little tipsy some. Where did Queenie go? You still up there? No, I do not pay taxes. My U.S. citizen pays taxes, TikToker. The U.S. citizen that I am the authorized representative for, when it incurs a tax liability, it pays taxes. Now, I have gone after the IRS and made one of my tax years uncollectible, but then I started learning more and finding out that you're not taxed on who you are. It is nothing personal at all. You're just taxed on how you do business. And the IRS will tell you point blank in their codes that it is a tax liability if you're trying to do for public profit gains with Federal Reserve notes. If you're doing non-profit, you're not taxed. One of the things I was trying to do was convert my U.S. citizen into a non-profit trust. That was like one of the first things I was trying to do when I started learning about all this stuff. I'm like, can I dissolve that entity and turn it into a non-profit? But the answer is no. The answer is you can create your own entity and do that. I see you there, Queenie. I didn't know. Y'all's moderator abilities are a lot different on this type of thing. So I don't know. I have to look into. I don't think I can delegate y'all any more power than I already have. The King's Juice? What is the King's Juice? You ain't talking about this, are you? This is my juice. Are you talking about wine? Yeah, that's right. The King's Juice. So really, they're just showing us how good it can't be run. Well, trust me, we're running the U.S. citizen fine. We're running it just how they want. They want us to be ignorant, uneducated about it, taxed with 4 different liens on that sucker. You got 4 liens on your U.S. citizen when you're operating out there in commerce, and they love it. They love all the money. The owners and controllers of that entity love how much money we're just shoveling them hand over foot. But I can tell you what, if you want to go down a rabbit hole, try to do for public profit commerce out there with your U.S. citizen and say that you don't have to pay taxes, because you're going to get put on a list, and they're going to start compiling information against you, and they're going to eventually come knocking. How do you start a trust? David, there's so many ways to start a trust. I could hand you a pencil and say I'll be back in an hour to get it, and if you accept it, we just created a trust. Trusts originate viva voce through the voice, and then the written part is the memorialization if you choose to express it. Now, there are 2 types of main trust. There's expressed and implied, and a good book is called Weiss's Concise Trustee Handbook to help you try to understand a good portion of how trusts operate out there. What's up, Queenie? Where are you going? Who, what, where, when? And can we have it when we learn how? So we are trust fund. We all are trust fund babies. The state allows us to get the private equity side of our estate. It is a benefit. What are you doing, girl? Who, what, where, why, when? Does all that money go to you once you get control of your U.S. citizen? You can't get control, TikToker. You can't get control of your U.S. citizen. They allow you to gain access to the private equity side of it once you have gone through a whole lot of mess. And it was a lot. Trust me, I had all the outline to it. I had everything, and started getting there. And I was kind of like, when I got to the DTC and needed a sponsor, I'm like, how the heck do I find a sponsor? I didn't even research anymore, because one of my teachers was teaching stuff, and I found something that I liked. It fitted me a little more than trying to capture the private side of the straw man, because I'd rather let Caesar keep what Caesar wants. Like I don't really want much to do with it at all. Do I think? Thank you, State Nationals, Rock. Sir, do you think there is value in offering a discharge for debts using? Yes, absolutely. They cannot specify what form of payment that they're going to receive to set off or discharge any debt obligation. Queenie, what are you, who, what, why, when, benefiting from what? What you mean, Willis? Can I be tax exempt if I expose their birth certificate identity fraud? It depends on what you're doing, whether or not you have a tax liability, and there was no fraud because you're the one that's claiming, actually you're the one being fraudulent, walking around thinking that you're a corporation. They just created the articles of corporation and gave it to you. Yeah, bill of exchange is payment. It's not so much discharging, that's more of settling. It's kind of exchanging. It's exchanging the value of it. It's not set off. It's not a set off. It's a little bit different. But you got to be careful. Like I've seen some very smart teachers go to jail for doing IBOs, international bills of exchange. We all have our own road to freedom. That is correct, Doug. So that is how everybody gets tricked. Everybody falls for this secured party credit or garbage that doesn't do anything. Everybody thinks there's a quick and easy path to claiming exemption and freedom when you were already free. Trust me, I spent 10 years studying, and I found out I was free the whole time. I'm just glad that I went through all this and I'm able to help and show y'all what I learned. A writ of quo warranto sounds familiar, M. Patton, Special Department, but I am not 100% sure what that is. A writ of quo warranto. It'd be cool if I could copy. I can't copy from this thing. Writ of, what is it called? Quo warranto. Oh, I like that. It is a writ directed to show what authority they have for exercising some right or power. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's a good one. I will claim I am the beneficiary of the name, and I do not elect to be franchised. So you can do that, but you are only one of the beneficiaries, and you're not the biggest one. The state is the biggest one, and everybody who has a lien on it. China indirectly has one through the Obamacare Act, which I've been told that prevented World War III a long time ago. I know we're in it now, but that lien, that Obama healthcare lien that they put on each U.S. citizen postponed the war that's going on right now. But as one of the beneficiaries of that U.S. citizen, you're a small portion of it, and good luck finding the actual indentures of that. All I can say is that a trust is proven by our actions. It's implied. So when you see that all the money is going, to Puerto Rico and stuff like that, you can figure out how the trust works. They don't have a duty to disclose the indentures, especially if we are, because in commerce you're presumed to know what you're doing if you're engaged in commerce, and by our actions, by all of us pledging on a 1040 all of the funds back to the state and to the federal government, we are basically showing that we are giving up all the funds back freely by pledging it. The 1041 or 1040 is a pledge receipt. My YouTube handle is kind of the same all across the media. I only have a couple of Flat Earth videos, Nelson, on that. We all have our own road. Yep, that's right. You have a copy of Repo. I will claim I am beneficiary. They needed to go. Maybe your demeanor, I don't care, but maybe your demeanor, I don't care. But thank you. Does my demeanor suck? I thought I was being kind of loving. Sorry, I don't know. Gotta go. All right, arrogant geek. See you later. Oh yeah, I'm not. Yeah, a lot of people can charge for this. I don't charge for this. My duty is to help y'all. Sir, when offering a discharge for debts, what's the value that empowers the offer? The proof that there is debt is all you need in public, and that is how Captain Crunch, a debt collector, a third-party debt collector that has nothing to do with you or through you or from you, can come out of left field and start proving through acquiescence and you staying silent, can prove that you have a debt, and then go and enforce that in a small claims court by you staying silent. And all there is there's numbers on a piece of paper. They didn't even buy that debt. Sometimes it's pennies on a dollar, or sometimes the original creditor will say, here, you can just have it, and then they try to enforce that, and all they have to do is send you several notifications, and then when you do not reply, they have enough evidence to go in front of a judge and say they've stayed silent, they accepted the terms and claims herein, and they can liquidate, and the judge will order. Your U.S. citizen is bound by the orders of whatever the court says. What is a CUSIP report? So you're spelling it wrong. It's CSUIP, and it's a customer. Gosh, man, I wish I remember what CUSIP means every time. It's like a uniform protocol. It is a Committee on Uniform Securities Identifications Procedure. That is what a CUSIP means. Now, you have to get the CUSIP number to figure out how to get the report. And the report is kind of like where it's been traded and exchanged all over the world. How can we take ourselves out of the public? Bob, the only way to do that is to use either an agent or be a self-sustained like little farmer with the true title to your land and property. You get the true title to everything, and you're a self-sustained subsistence farmer, and you have like freaking solar panels, and you get your own well water and stuff like that. Then you don't have to deal with the public. Other than that, you have to use an agent, or they have to use an agent, like an agent's agent, to interface with the public. And then to interface with the public, you got to have some type of dead corporation entity to interact. Dana, I do one-on-ones. I call people and talk to them all the time, coaching and counseling. Some people keep me enlightened a little too much of what's going on in the world, but it just comes to the nature of them being gratuitous towards my favors that I give them. So, but I do one-on-ones and consultations and stuff, and I'm free. I don't charge. Sorry, I put a special deposit in the court. Did not move at all. You put a special deposit. So private priority, special deposit is a good way to do a payment, but I don't know about trying to pay the court unless there was you figured out what the penal sum is on whatever the original charging instrument is. So I don't know. So the judge knows how to balance the equities, or you can come in and say, I'm here to set off, settle, and close, and effect payment immediately on the account. But to figure out what the amount is kind of difficult. Derek, a list of books is in my Telegram group if you want to see what I recommend. Writ of quo warrant challenge. Yeah, they claim they have authority over. Yes, I checked out the writ of quo warrant. That's pretty cool. I actually kind of like that. That's pretty neat. You can use that to challenge jurisdiction. I like it. By what authority? Yeah. Which keeps you from filing a motion to put you under their jurisdiction. So they don't have, you can do that all you want, Mr. L. The problem is that the judge does not care what paper you put in front of him. You could give him monopoly money. I could give monopoly money, and I could take over that court. I could discharge a court debt with monopoly money and enforce it. I could come in there and take control of that court. I'm not saying you can or can't, but if you can't, this is what I'm getting at. The judge doesn't care what paper you put in. He's going to be watching you and seeing if he can get you. If he gets you under his jurisdiction, he's going to wipe his rear end with whatever paper you want. He's going to blow his nose with it. He's going to make a paper airplane out of it and bomb it into a 9/11 World Trade Center. Who knows? But if you don't know how to take control of that court as the ultimate authority, it doesn't matter what paperwork. You can challenge authority all day, and they have all these tricks and tips or ways to get you under their jurisdiction. So you gotta know how the rules of the game work. You need to settle account before you can discharge. You can't discharge an account that's delinquent or in default. So discharging is different than settling. And set off, you can set off, settle, and close an account, which are kind of in the same way. Discharging is putting it off to another date, it's like a set off. And that's what a Federal Reserve note is. It's kind of it's setting it off to another date. Discharging is an honorable way to release whatever the debt is. You can discharge a delinquent or in default debt, and you can also set it off. You can settle it. You can say it doesn't exist. Like you can do whatever you want, Quinn. There's all kinds of ways to handle a default debt or a debt or anything. There's so many different ways you can go. So the discharge, Captain Crunchnut, it's a common medium of exchange. So asking me that question, why companies accept discharge for debt, is the same way. Like why is your U.S. citizen accepting Federal Reserve notes, which is a worthless piece of paper, for all of the labor that you put in? If you work, some people on disability and stuff. If you work, why are you working all day and then allowing your corporation to receive worthless, backed by nothing Federal Reserve notes? It's the same thing. It's in the monopoly game. That is the medium of exchange that is common parlance within that corporation that they exchange. It's just like going into an arcade and they use silver tokens. If you take those silver tokens out and try to use them at Walmart, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. You can only use it within that little corporation. Oh, my demeanor is fine. Thank you. No, something I really like about you. Oh, I got you. Thanks, Doug. What books do you suggest? I think I already answered that. Haters, LOL. By Aline. Yep, I'm here in the matter of the legal fiction name. So all that stuff's great to say, DJ. If there's nobody behind you, the judge's duty is to the public, and the public is ignorant, bankrupt, uneducated, crazy, and his job is to try to protect that system. Because, in all honesty, and they'll tell you this if you look it up, if everybody knew how money really worked, there would be a revolt overnight. If everybody knew everything that I know, there would be a revolt overnight. And the reason for that, I revolted at first too, and a lot of people go through a lot of different stages when they figure out how all this stuff starts to work. They end up starting to they get mad, they get angry, and part of the way the system is set in place is once you figure out how everything works, they are our servants. They are bound by oath and bonded and insured, and as long as you're at peace and in love and come from love, yes, there are jerk cops. Yes, there are jerk judges. How often have you had a bad day and just little stuff upsets you? And especially people that you love, like the people that are closest to you are the easiest to upset you. So you got to keep that in mind. We're all just people, and doing things. We have jobs, and their duty is to protect the public in the system that is in place. And their system that is in place is to work for us if you know how to operate properly. You can DM me on my profile, MPatton, by hitting my message. I think you under my profile just hit message, and it'll go into my requested message archive, and then I do my best within 1 or 2 days to get to everybody, depending on what I got going on. Uniform committee identification number is correct. Just posing a performance bond with the court automatically give you the leverage. So you got to understand that, and I'm going to probably end up correcting one of these. My understanding is there's a bid bond, a performance bond, and a payment bond. And once I talk to the guy who actually took control of the court and got all of the bonds, I will be able to tell y'all more precisely how he did it, which ones there are, and what's the best way. They are already bonding the case. You don't have to create your own. You can settle that one or set off it or take control of it, but there's no point in trying to double bond a case that's already bonded. Hey buddy, I appreciate you posting your number on here, but you should DM me with that info, because like I don't know if I'm going to write that down, but now everybody's got your digits, so I hope you like all these beautiful women that are on here. I'm going to start blowing your phone up, and all these guys are going to be asking for hot dates. How to join your Telegram. So my Telegram is Nature, Spirit, and Commerce, and I post all my lives. If I don't like the way the audio sounds on this, I will not be posting that. Thank you, Queenie. I'm a little behind. If you can't find it, DM me. I'll send you a link. I think I'm going to start sending the link to the group to everybody, because I think everybody has to join that group in order to chat back and forth. The way it's set up, it's weird. The channel, I can broadcast stuff, but nobody can talk in it. So I'm learning. I got to learn all these programs. I'm trying to build a website, and I'm trying to figure out this TikTok Live app. I'm a fan of the intros in your videos. Let's talk about it. Hey, Enrique. So I actually had a guy. No, somebody came on here and said I'm their favorite trans artist, and I was like, trans? I'm a man. What are you talking about? And they meant transition. They were talking about what you're talking about, like my intros, like the way. And I'm like, you didn't say that. You said I'm your favorite trans artist. I don't know. It might be a younger, newer thing. Like I'm a little old, I guess. Old's relative. It all depends on jurisdiction. That's right. Everything depends on jurisdiction, and like when in Rome, do what Romans do, Queenie. What Romans do. I need a couple answers on. I'll be on the 6th omnibus hearing in this case. Okay. What exactly does your process perform? I'm not sure what you mean. Why not DMF? My process? My process is to like assist and help y'all from harming everybody else and learn and understanding the truth, and from my perspective, because everybody has their own truth. Now there's my truth, your truth, and then the actual truth, you know. And there's a parable about that, but I'm not going to go into depth about that. Yeah, I look at the world different now thanks to your. Yeah. It can be fraudulent. We're tricked in a lot of ways, and that is people perishing from lack of knowledge, if you know where that's from. I have been in several of your lives. I absolutely need to speak to you, please. How can I DM? So MPatton, go on my profile, click on my image, and it should be, I'll send you my profile, and then click message on my profile. And on my profile is where I have a lot of playlists that you can actually learn. It will help you get unindoctrinated. I know we've spent 10, 20, 30, 40 years getting indoctrinated by a system that wants to keep us basically with our heads up our rear ends, not doing anything productive, but this will help to start unindoctrinating you a little bit and opening your eyes. Operations manual. I don't have an operations manual. Why not? But like I said, I got playlists, and then I got a Telegram group where all of my lives are posted. You can start kind of learning and there's a bunch of good information. I got classes on emergency war power on there. I have this triangle that's behind my head posted there, which is kind of how I figured out how everything works in the world. Is there a commercial code or law that requires a company to accept an offer? Yes, there is, Captain Crunch, and I can actually send you that. It's a really cool game once you start figuring out how they're bound by the UCCs. We're not. We can create our own laws. But all the public corporations and servants and stuff are bound by all the codes, statutes, and processes and stuff. OIs? I don't know what an OI is. Operation OI. Why not OIs? What is going on with that? Does the plaintiff post performance bond? If so, yes. How? The plaintiff, depending on who the plaintiff is, because the plaintiff could be your neighbor John, and he wouldn't have to post a performance bond. Everybody is bonded and insured in the court if they're a public official. But like your friend Nancy probably isn't bonded. Her U.S. citizen is, and that's one of the funniest things that I think. Well, it's not funny, but when somebody goes through a bankruptcy and they put that Social Security number as being a bankrupt entity, it's publicly it is bankrupt, but on the private side there's so much asset money there. It is actually fraudulent to claim bankruptcy when that citizen has all this money in the bank. Why are you laughing at me, Queenie? Dang, I got 25 messages I got to catch up. Even student loans are fraud. It's not fraud. It's all contract law, Enrique. Private contracts are enforceable, and so when you sign something and you are giving your energy through that signature, you are agreeing to the terms therein. That is what gives the contract value, is your signature and your promise to pay or your promise to perform. So when you do that, you're being bound as the sovereign. You're binding your sovereignty through that contract, and that contract can say whatever. As long as it's like reasonable, it can't say that you have to moonwalk out in space, which in my mind doesn't even exist. Or you can't. You have to fly with your nostril hair from here to Japan in order to. It has to be something reasonable, because there's no court or no jurisdiction on Earth that's going to say, oh yeah, you should have flown from here to Japan with your nose hair. Like, you can't do that. It's just, maybe in your dreams, in the spiritual realm you can, but not in the natural realm. That ain't gonna fly, so to speak. But you signed up for it. I said all that just to say you can give up your sovereignty any way you want through contracts. That is on you, buddy. Sorry, you probably got this question a million times. How does getting a gun without a license work? So you want to be careful that you have pretty much established a status declaration that you are not a U.S. citizen. That way you can have standing, because if they come in, here's what happens. They can bring in a parade of idiots, that is to say your friends and family, that will point at you and say you're a U.S. citizen, even though you know a U.S. citizen is a corporation. If they do that, they have 2 or 3 witnesses that have admitted that you're a U.S. citizen, and they can use that to basically say you are the U.S. citizen who has not a license, is supposed to get licensed. So what you can do is something called a status declaration, and basically let the world know that you're not a U.S. citizen, you're a free man, you're whatever you want. You can say you're Muslim, you can say your mama was a butterfly, whatever. When it comes to the world of legal, it doesn't matter what is lawful, it matters what you can prove. And if you put out a status declaration that says you're a butterfly, and you put it to everybody on Earth and said, if your records say something else, please respond, and nobody responds, that is pretty much an established fact once you record it in a public repository and certify it out. How can I go after the judge for wrongful conviction? So basically you want to be careful, Dean. Depends on if you signed stuff, if the trust was expressed, the bonds were executed, and you agreed, he didn't do anything wrong. He did what he's supposed to do, which is basically capture your U.S. citizen, fleece it, and send you back to the herd. 1099A, Benzie, is an acquisition or an abandonment of property. and that form is red, and you have to order it specifically from the IRS because it is basically blood money. But don't use that unless you have a contract or 100% proof that something is abandoned or you can acquire it. Thanks, Queenie. Laughy, 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 laugh. Why? You know, I'm so far behind. I don't even know what y'all laughing at. Oh, cool. Y'all posting the Telegram. So that's probably the channel which you can't talk in. You have to go and join the chat group in the channel to be able to chat. But I can broadcast stuff in the channel. Unstable internet connection. Your quality will automatically be adjusted. Oh, alright. Owning the courts. Why do you know so much? I am a lawyer by definition, DJ, which means learned in the law. I'm more learned than your average attorney. Because they're taught a certain way on purpose, plus their duty is to the court and to the public first. Like, so the British have purposely taught their agents how they want to act, and their duty and the judges to basically board the U.S. citizen vessel, capture it, bring it in a dry dock, and basically get the bond, create bonding and money and stuff off of it. Yeah, I wouldn't monoxide. I would not suggest. Well, no, state nationals are not insane. State national is actually a corporation which can't do anything without a human. So I don't know about that, monoxide. Oh man, I've kept the court at bay by stating I do not consent and I do not understand. That's cool. Yeah, there's so many different ways. Every single thing said or done within a anything done within a court is an offer, and it has 4 different doors that you can do with every offer. The judge can say, "I'm throwing you in jail." You can say, "I conditionally accept." That's an offer. He doesn't have jurisdiction over you. You can definitely challenge that. Yes, I can. What do you want me to send you, Queenie? Or what's going on? Nature, spirit, commerce. That's it. Why not? That's it. Oh, you have trouble finding me? Mimi, are you able to like click on my profile or just look up child rules? Mimi, are you able to click on my profile? I saw it had unstable internet. Don't know if y'all heard that or not. And click on, or you can find me in my Telegram group, which is posted up here. You can message me, DM me. How can I get married without the government having interest in my marriage? So, first of all, Robert, you have to find a woman that is cool with you and her just having a private contract, because most women enjoy the benefits and privileges of having the stability of the state marrying and joining. You're basically asking for permission to merge your 2 corporations, your U.S. citizen, her U.S. citizen, and the state. All 3 of y'all are going to bed together. A license is permission to do something illegal, and it is granted by the king, and it is issued to enemies, which U.S. citizens are. So all you have to do is basically have a woman that is understanding about basically contract law, and y'all can create your own contract, and y'all can have witnesses, and y'all can write stuff in Bibles. You got to understand how exceptions to hearsay rule work. You can make an affidavit, a certificate of marriage with witnesses, or whatever. So that's one way to get married without a license. You don't need a license to get married. If you and her say you're married, y'all are married, and that's enforceable. That's a contract. Words are the originations of contract. Where is this contract that say they are allowed to take our money from our labor? There is no contract and there is no code. It's actually we're giving it by voucher through pledging on a 1040-V. And when you sign a is it W-4 when you sign up for a corporation? I think it's W-4. When you sign a W-4, you basically creating or telling the for-public entity that they are authorized to withhold funds from you, and then you pledge it through the and it's double accounting. So the corporation that you're working for reports that they withheld, and then you report with a 1040 that you're going to pay it. So it's like it's like double witnesses. They got you. It's all pledged. But you're the one deciding to trade your labor for that. Where do you file Dex of status? Oh, declaration of status. You can write it down and you can file it out anywhere you want. Any company. Some people will do the Social Security Administration. They'll send it to the Vatican. They'll send it to the IRS. They'll send it to, I suggest watching my profile videos. I have one on national versus citizen. I also have one on status, and I have one on standing. If you watch all of those, it'll give you a good idea about it. Yes. So depending on on the micro or macro scale of the three-headed offices. On the micro scale, there's the neutron, the electron, and the proton. And on the macro scale, you got the Vatican, the Lundion, which means light of the light, I think. And then you have the District of Columbia, this is the executive branch. Those are the three different jurisdictions for the elites. London is the judicial branch that the judgments of our systems came from. Vatican is the legislative branch where all of the Latin legislation goes over the world, and then DC is the executive branch of the military enforcement, which is going to be interesting when I don't know if the China's coming to claim all their property from here or not. I don't know what's going to happen. Stuff's getting wild. Stuff is getting wild. Can you claim your status but still continue life like you did before you claim? Absolutely. Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's what I did. That's exactly what I did, Patriot. I put out a status declaration to everybody on Earth, said this is who I am, how I want to be known. If you have some different in your records, let me know. I'm not. My research and study says I might be presumed to be an enemy of the state. Just letting you know I'm not. I got proof of service, and then I still have a U.S. citizen that I'm an authorized representative for that, engages in, it does property management. You can say it's you doing it, no, but it's not. It's the U.S. citizen that is contractually obligated. I would like to know how to make a status declaration. All right, DM me, I can show you, or you can Google it, especially depending on what locale or what jurisdiction. On my status declaration on the very top I put love is all law, because for my studies that is basically everything. Pyramid, thanks for all the gifts, by the way. I see them at the top. They're hiding under some stuff. Don't the judges have a conflict of interest since they're making money off my case? So they are and they aren't in a sense, because they are not making like a direct incentive off of your case directly. They are publicly paid by the state. They're not like incentivized per conviction. There are some private courthouses that have done that and gotten in trouble, and it was in a minor court. I remember there were some courthouses that were just throwing minors in jail left and right because they were getting paid. The judges were getting incentivized for every minor that they threw in jail. But typically, the bonding and stuff is not part of incentivizing for the judge. He gets paid no matter what, if you're free or not. Like he's not. His duty and obligation is to protect the public systems that are in place. I have signed nothing. That's one way to do it. Don't sign stuff. Yes, Bub, stuff can be signed with a 1099-A or acquired with a 1099-A if there's an agreed upon contract between the parties that the property is abandoned or is up for you to acquire. But if you do a 1099-A on something that has a lien on it, you do a 1099-A on something that ain't your property, don't have an agreement on it, you're committing international crimes and you're not going to enjoy the consequences. So I suggest being careful before you watch Bob the Jailhouse Lawyer on TikTok try to tell you, oh hey, you can buy your house with a 1099-A. How do I respond to a notice of deficiency from IRS for lawful money refund received from the U.S. Trust. I'm assuming the U.S. Trust is the U.S. citizen. How to respond to the notice of deficiency. Tell them to take it out the private side. Tell them, authorize them to take it out of the private asset side of the account where all the money is, and tell them to just adjust their books accordingly. And send them proof of service. Send them something that you can establish a record. It's all about record keeping. Because what happens all the time when you go in front of a judge is you don't have any records, you don't have any law, you don't have any proof that you have, a piece of paper. Of course you can come in there and say stuff and take control, but when you've got paper backing that up, that gives you standing. You can have all the status you want in the world. You can come in there and say you're sovereign, say you're king, and you can prove it. But it helps to have this standing. When you have paper and you've done records and you bring in your own law, that gives you standing. Now you have status and standing. Now you're like untouchable. So that's why you want to do both. You want to not only be the sovereign in presence, but when you do paperwork in front of the judge and bring it in, it's just like being interviewed for a job position. You can put whatever you want on that piece of paper. You could say that you used to like clean cars with Elvis Presley, and it looks really good on paper, right? But when you go in front of the judge, he's interviewing you. He's making sure that the paper aligns with what you have done. If it doesn't, he's going to disregard all that paperwork, get you under his jurisdiction, fleece you, throw you out of court or in jail, and you'll be like, dang, that template I downloaded off Google didn't work. Suckers. It won't the template. It was how you carried yourself. You found me, Mimi? Cool. Alright, M. Patton, I see you sent me a DM. I'll try to get back to you. My profile photo doesn't look like me. It doesn't because it was a few years ago with shaved hair, and I was in a bathroom with a different phone, probably a little more tan. Alright. Sweet, thank you. Have a cool. Alright, cool. Heck yeah. If you need any help, just DM me, Robert. Like I said, if you got a woman that's down with it, y'all can come up with any terms and claims that y'all want as far as conditions. Like you can say, if I cheat on you, I'll give you $2,000, or if you cheat on me, you owe me the car, or you can create your own terms. And if you got a real cool woman, y'all trust each other, which is hard to find nowadays. Y'all can just have spoken agreements, and then if something goes crazy, then you make an affidavit of facts to start establishing a record. But if y'all are cool, like normal humans should be, y'all can just have verbal agreements. I'll get the kid on Saturday. When you go in front of a judge, it was because there was a public dispute that couldn't be settled between the parties. Most mature adults that aren't, adults that need daycare can handle their affairs and accordingly, and come up with terms, guides, and conditions that they want. You are in charge of your destiny through the contracts that you keep and make. Can I access my Social Security funds that has been traded? Not on the public side. Why not? You can access the private side bonds. So the public side Social Security number is one thing, and then the private side there's a back number too. But you gotta know what you're doing. A lot of people will tell you that you can use a Social Security number to set off debts, and it'll work temporarily, but we haven't been authorized through Congress to use it in that manner. My son refused to sign paperwork, and they let him work anyway. He didn't agree with the contract. My son refused to sign paperwork to work, and they let him work anyway. He didn't agree. Okay, well then, cool. As long as they didn't sign his name on it for him, then you can contract however you want. All rights reserved is like UCC 1308, but you don't want to use codes because they're copywritten. The UCC commercial code has been codified through all the states. Actually, I think it's international, all over the world. I think it's kind of accepted, the UCC, but it is copywritten private stuff that I never use it unless I put it inside of a box. I just use the words. The words aren't copywritten. It's just the codes that are attached to the words. Oh, cool. Thanks, Mimi. We the people What dorm do you use rather than form rather than W4? I think it's a W8BEN, but again, you got to be careful what you're doing, especially especially depending on what the place that you are applying for is doing. To try to be like, if they got national security stuff that they're dealing with, and you try to come in and say you're a national without a social security number and stuff like that. So don't think you're going to be a national and use a social security number. You're not. Nationals don't have social security numbers. A national can get a tax identification. You can get a different EIN for the national, but I don't suggest. You don't have to do that. You can. What form can you use to decline payroll taxes? It's called not working for someone that won't let you. I don't think there's a form to decline payroll. You can claim exempt. You can sign on a W4. You're exempt from taxes. You don't have to do a W8BN. The last one I did for this job said I could have claimed exempt, but I have dealings with Navy and U.S. military and stuff like that I don't want to mess with that. I started to a long time ago, but the way I'm set up and stuff, like I just I let Caesar keep what Caesar wants. I got a bunch of trusts. I got a bunch of stuff I'm doing. Like the U.S. citizen is their property. Like whatever, ain't mine. I want to put aboriginal status. Is that lawful? It is. You lawfully can claim whatever you want on a status declaration. Absolutely, Mimi. You can put whatever you want on that. Now, it's up to you whether or not you want to claim allegiance to a sovereign republic state. That is up to you. You can claim outside of all those jurisdictions. You can claim original land before the settlers came or whatever. Space is fake, and this is a flat world. Absolutely, DJ. From the best of my knowledge, I don't know about where an edge is, but I can tell you, we're in a pressurized system. That's the only way to have like clouds and stuff like that. And you can't have a vacuum next to a non-vacuum. It doesn't work. They've actually proven it. There is no way, because the pressure will equalize. You cannot have a vacuum next to a non-vacuum because all the air particles will equalize. There's no way to replicate anywhere, even using gas as a barrier. Gravity is not going to separate and create a wall where pressure won't equalize to a vacuum. It doesn't work. You only live once. HR will be dumbfounded. Yeah. How do we get a car without them committing fraud on us? Have you watched my video on getting true title to car? You only live once would be nice. Can I access the private exit? Yes, you can. Watch my video on discharging debt. Why not? So do you just walk up and give the lender, or what do you actually do with the 1099-A? No, you have to get an agreement, a contract agreement. The best way is typically through writing. If you give them a 1099-A, they could just refuse it because you can't compel anybody through. There's no involuntary servitude. Yes, I have represented myself. I used to represent myself all the time, actually, when I was younger, but I didn't know I wasn't the U.S. citizen. I was in there saying I was the U.S. citizen and just representing myself. It was for traffic violations, and I was getting weekends. I was getting all these driving on suspendeds, and I would represent myself, and I would get weekends in jail or and stuff like that. Is there a downside to being a notary? A notary is an extension of the Secretary of State. It is an agent. A notary can work on the private side and the public side. That's why they have seals and they have stamps. A notary is a very powerful office because it is basically, like I said, an extension of the Secretary of State, who, and I'm not sure, I think it's only the federal one, has to there's two positions that have to disclaim their U.S. citizens status because of a conflict of interest, and the Secretary of State is one of them. And I can't remember what the other one is, but there's two. I have to look it up. But a notary is great to be a witness and keeps public records and stuff like that. So they're public and private, just like everything else has a public and private side. Keith, is there a valid contract with the people in HR 192? Yes, and the contract is 12 USC 411. Do you get remittance vouchers from the IRS to discharge debt, or is that only in Canada? No, we get remittance vouchers on every bill. Every bill is a voucher that you can send. Now, my understanding for the U.S. is the U.S. citizen, because of House Joint Resolution 192, has the ability to discharge debt publicly and privately. I don't know about in Canada. I don't know how y'all discharge debt, or what y'all's codes and what y'all got going on. Everybody's bankrupt and uses birth certificates in the Social Security Ponzi scheme, but I don't know what your codes and statutes say that allow you to discharge debt other than getting someone in a private contract through acquiescence. Thanks for sending me a message, Mimi. I'll check it out. I still look great because I don't look like my profile. It's probably because of the light. I need to buy blinders. I'm right by the sun window, and I got somewhat of a high def camera that's picking up my oldness. 1099-C is a cancellation of debt, and that also too is printed on red blood money, can only be ordered through the IRS, and has to be put on a special form. But you also must have an agreement between the parties, unless 100% proof you know that the property can be canceled. Alright. W4T, I don't know what that is. How do you use the number on the back of Social? Oh, the bond, you got to use that into the DTC, Derek. I have the outline to how to do that on my discharging debt video. You can't take back your straw man. Why not? It is a corporation that is controlled by the state, and it is a certificate of title, just like your certificate of title is on your car. It's not true title. It's just showing you that you have an interest in the property, and you're allowed to do a lot of things with it. You can discharge debt with it. You can sail the seas of commerce. It's a limited liability. You can pay taxes with it. You can hold Federal Reserve notes with it. You can do banking, public and private with it. You can do all kinds of things with the U.S. citizen. But it ain't your property. It's just a tool that you can use. And you're one of the beneficiaries, but you're the smallest one. How can I beat 2 child support cases? Depending, each case is different, and if you have true title of the children, that's the way that you can beat that. If you're saying they're U.S. citizens, everybody has jurisdiction over them. They can do whatever they want. How can we purchase a vehicle using our public trust without them committing fraud on us? By going through the DTC. Thanks for the rose, Misty. Where do I start if I was not born in the United States but became a U.S.? Oh, you're fine. You can. It depends on what you want to do. If you've been naturalized in the U.S., then you are, for all intents and purposes, a U.S. citizen. If you've been naturalized. Thanks for the gifts, Misty. How can I beat 2 child? Already that one. You can rebut the flat part. Cool. Heck yeah. Are you talking about the that gas can stop a vacuum? Because if you please DM me if you can prove to me that gas can stop a vacuum, I'd love to see it. Unless you're talking about something else. Yeah, there's so much evidence. The NASA, look. I don't just come out here and say I believe the Earth's flat because I've just feel like it. I have done years and years and years and years of studies, and I thought people were crazy thinking that the Earth was flat. It was nuts. Yeah, that is a good way to beat child support, is to pay it depending on if there's fraud, Misty, because there are situations where stuff isn't correctly done. I'm excited because I actually have all paper forms of 1099s. All right, cool. Yeah, but you got to get a contract that says basically either the property is abandoned or you can cancel it or you can acquire it and stuff like that. As long as you have that agreed upon contract between the 2 parties on that, you're good. Same thing with the UCC1. Yes, you can tie your bank account to the Treasury Direct account, and there's plenty of videos on how to do that. I think you can get a warrant lifted off once you, like I said, a warrant is a warranty for a debt. So you have a debt that has already been ledgered and created, and the warranty is a surety underwriter writing for that debt that needs to be satisfied. So you have to satisfy the original charging instrument. Signed by 2 and you makes it true. Signed by 2 and you makes it true. Yeah, that's pretty much a good way to look at contracts. Do you have to be a secured party to do? No, you don't have to be a secured party. That's actually part of the false fictitious banking terminology that they trick us all into using, the debtor, creditor, slave, master duality, when everything is in trust. Everything is in trust out there. How do I claim true title of my child? You do a affidavit of ownership, Patriot. But I can tell you it is not an easy process to undo judgments and stuff on chattel, which is U.S. citizens, that have already been expressed. The positions have been signed. The bonds are starting to mature and stuff like that. You can always challenge jurisdiction or fraud, though, especially if you have proof like baby mama ain't taking care of the kids, or the kids are not being taken care of, or they're being maltreated. And you can always go in there and get jurisdiction back, unless like yeah, you can always take your kids back and pay for them. So you're gonna pay for them one way or another. Well, really the state's paying for them, but they'd rather you use your bank account with the Federal Reserve notes than their bank account. I've personally navigated the globe. Oh, cool. So you've done international travel. Have you ever, because I've seen this, have you ever set a self-leveling, next time you travel the globe, set a self-leveling object and lock it into where you start, travel as far as you want on the globe, then come back and look, and it will still be level because you didn't go over any curve. Lost gun rights due to a misdemeanor 10 years ago. Yeah, you're able to get it back. You can get it pardoned or expunged, or you can request to get your rights back for the U.S. citizen. Melody, you should be able to save them off of the Telegram group. Are you not able to save them? Now, child support, so there's some codes, Queenie, that say child support is actually, a portion of it is going to somewhere where it's not supposed to, and that's why they charge you extra. And that's where kind of the scamming part comes in. But they have like these calculators that basically do all the calculating for you. How can you pay if there is no money? For what, Al Johnson? What are you trying to pay for? You can set up your Treasury Direct account online. Your name is really long. You only live once, so be nice. Sorry, I didn't call you back. I think you're the one that said you had something going on. Actually, I think I messaged you back. The IRS asks you about your income taxes. Can you ask them to provide the law that requires pay? You can. But you've basically signed a W-4, and then you've probably filled out all kinds of paperwork your whole life that have been pledging, and then all of a sudden try to say, hey, and I did that. I was like, hey, hold up now. I don't owe you. And then I did a bunch of study and found out that you're not taxed on who you are. You're just taxed on how you do business. And if you're working for a for-profit corporation, there's most likely a tax liability. You can sign a 1099 however you want. You can contract. You have the unlimited power to sign, to endorse, to do whatever you want. I don't have a YouTube. I just have some flat earth stuff on my YouTube. Somebody said I should also post all my TikToks on YouTube, but I just don't. I don't know if I'll get the same crowd or following. Like, I'm already like swamped with busyness. My Telegram is Nature Spirit Commerce. Judge's retirement plan. Yeah, that sucks that child support goes to the judge's retirement plan. I've never heard of that. Anthony, yeah, Anthony, what's up? Can you just give them back the birth certificate? Yeah, you absolutely can. You do not have to use the U.S. citizen. It is just a benefit and privileges. It's a stack of a stack of papers. You can create your own entity outside of U.S. jurisdiction. You can create one that's inside of U.S. jurisdiction. You can create one that's outside of all jurisdictions. I wouldn't claim the moon or something, but you can claim, land. You can give back all that stuff. You don't have to use any of it. It's a benefit and privilege. It's just a benefit and privilege for a subject citizen. It's hard to get. The banks own it for me to us. Any videos? Yeah, if you look on TikTok Telly, there are all kinds of videos for using the Treasury Direct account and how to set it up. I've had one sent to me. According to my rap sheet, I have been convicted, fined, and jailed when I was never present at trial. Yeah, that sounds weird. But it wasn't you, it was your U.S. citizen. Pledges of the past. Clean slate. The easiest way, Pyramid, is to just drop the mic and head another direction. Use something else. Because the game is rigged in their favor. When you go in the court, everybody's for the public, It's a game that's been rigged and set up. Like, if you don't want to play the game of Monopoly the way the rules are, then don't play that game. Play your own game. Make your own board. You're able to create your own government, your own currency, your own contracts, your own treaties, your own seals, your own family crest, your own everything. You can do all that on your own. But we don't take that responsibility. So that's kind of why we're in the position that we're in. I've learned constitutional republic is de jure and democracy. Yeah, that's right. That's true. The republic, you could say constitutional. Constitution is really a debt instrument. It means to pass debt. Return to the state, correct, or the agency that owns. Yeah, that's right. Or you can just shred it. You don't have to return them. You can say here. If you look on the back of the Social Security card, it says, this belongs to the Social Security Administration. It's not even yours. When you look on your ID, it says that it is the state's property. When you look on the birth certificate, it's proof of a certificate of a title. It's not yours. Everybody's all scared of this great reset. You'll own nothing and be happy. We already own nothing, and we're all miserable anyway. So, it's just wild that everybody thinks, oh no, they're going to take everything. They've already done it. That's how cops are able to come on your land and take your guns and take your car and because it belongs to them. This is their stuff. What you talking about, Queenie? DM'd you a dirt link? What? Oh, direct link. I was like, what in the world? A direct link to the Telegram. Thank you, girl. Did you return it to the State Secretary, the agency? Sorry, it's a lag. I don't know what you're talking about returning. You don't have to return them. You can't. The certificate of the birth certificate is just proof that there's a record created. What's the best way of getting away from paying the IRS is to either have your U.S. citizen be involved in not-for-profit activities or trade in gold, silver, or barter. That's the best way to not pay taxes. They did it through fraud. They didn't do it through fraud because there's no duty and obligation to give full disclosure. But you can claim fraud at any time on anything, Sean. That is one of the beautiful things about fraud, is there's no statute of limitations. Yes, that's right. Citizens cannot own property. Citizen is synonymous with subject. And citizens, the U.S. citizen is bankrupt, uneducated. It's a corporation, and it's controlled by the state. So this is how screwed up everything is. When you get a car, you register it to the state. They get control of it. Then they issue you a certificate. They issue your U.S. citizen that they control a certificate of title of the car. And so it's not even your U.S. citizen that's getting the certificate. That's not even true title. So you are so far from not owning that vehicle. It's not even funny. But that just shows how uneducated we are. How you doing, Seamus? When you create your own contracts, will the contracts be honored in the courts? They will be if you handle yourself properly. You don't need paperwork. It just helps to have standing with paperwork. But depending on what you do and your conduct and how your actions are is basically whether or not you're going to get a remedy. You know, if you are in there stuttering, you're acting crazy, and you are belligerent, you're making statements, and you're mean, it don't matter what paperwork you've done. So you want to put, you can, which the public can only deal with other corporations, so you need to create some type of trust. It doesn't have to be in the U.S. It can have a different type of jurisdiction. It could be a national, but you definitely want to create some form of corporation or trust to put the house in. My Telegram owl is Nature, Spirit, and Commerce, and I was posting on my lives. My last one didn't go on there because the audio sucks, and it's probably going to suck again because I'm using my mic's audio on my webcam. Oh, that's cool. You don't have to use the Coinage Act, the Navigator. You can also use Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution guarantees a Republican form of government. And the Republican form of government says that they can only deal in gold and silver coin. So that's the Republican form when you're dealing with constitutional money. Alright guys, I think I'm probably going to head out soon. I have trouble comprehending what a trust is in detail. I can definitely help you, Mimi. Look up Weiss's Concise Trustee Handbook. It's a free PDF online. It'll help you kind of understand. Like I said, you want to learn trust. Everything's in trust law. That's how you want to operate. Link for the Telegram. I'll send it to you. If you can't find it, just DM me. Good to go. Cool. All right. Become a state national. Are you bound by the state's rules? No. The Republican sovereign free state is much more lenient and chill than the corporate state. So the all capital or two-letter abbreviation is federal, or state of in all capital letters. Like if you're Johnson, John's son, that's different than son of John. They're just different. Weiss is W-E-I-S. Let me see. I think it's spelled like this. Concise trustee. I think it's spelled like that. Mimi. Champetry. Oh wow, Seamus. I have never heard of Champetry Manutenance Banrary. Is that? Did you spell that correctly? I would have to freaking Champetry. I don't think you spelled that right, man. Banrary? Put simply, maintenance is helping another prosecute a suit. Champetry is maintaining a suit and returning for a financial interest and outcome, and barratry is continuing practice of maintenance or champetry. Alright, so the United States Supreme Court has succinctly described the three doctrines as follows. Put simply, maintenance is helping another prosecute a suit. Champetry is maintaining a suit in return for a financial interest of the outcome, and barratry is continuing practice of maintenance or champetry. So I hope that helps. Found it. Cool. Yeah, it's not that hard to find that book. So anyway, I'm gonna head out, guys, and I'll see y'all later. Hope y'all have a great Friday. I'm probably gonna grab me something to drink, a little wine. Enjoy life. Live large. See y'all later. I think, if I can end it.